So when you start your business, it is key to actually know who you are like gearing your message to. What is your like? What are you saying? You need to know specifically what am I saying, and you can only know that by actually deeply understanding who you're speaking to.
Hi guys, welcome back to another episode on the Digital Dreamers Hub podcast. I'm super excited to have you guys here. I'm Trudy, your host, and I want you to get ready to be inspired by today's guest, Sia Tania, a former corporate UI UX designer turned globe-trotting online entrepreneur, is here to share her expertise on building a strong brand that attracts dream clients to your business, all while breaking free from the 9-to-5 grind. Get ready for a powerful episode filled with insights and motivation as we explore Sia's incredible journey and learn about how we can differentiate ourselves by building a magnetic brand. Sia, welcome to the episode. I'm super excited to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
How are you feeling today? How are you?
Good, energized. Yeah,
that's
sure.
Nice. And where are you tuning in from? I think it's good to also hear where you are because you are just like always everywhere around the world. Where are you tuning in from today?
I'm in the States right now.
Oh, nice. That's great. Well, we will talk about that. There's so much that we can learn about branding, brand. I think it's an ongoing topic, especially when you are it doesn't matter where you're starting or established. It's something that is a continuous thing to do. It evolves also across, in time, it also changes. We've seen it with very big brands as well, like Instagram, Apple, it always changes. So I think it's very interesting for us as female entrepreneurs to learn more about, branding, how we can position ourselves on the market, how can we differentiate ourselves in a very competitive market. It doesn't really matter what your niche is. So let's get into that because I'm very curious to hear about, how it started for you because you had a corporate job. It was a good job. You were working in tech. What made you want to start your online business as a brand coach?
Yeah. So it just started with during school that I wanted to experience, living abroad. So I did that. I was able to do that 2 times, which was amazing and really changed my perspective. And then when I started my actual job after I graduated, I was like, I'm missing something, I felt I love studying because I had those opportunities to actually go away. And then everyone around me was like, I don't really like school and I don't like to study and I don't like this and that. And I was like, I love it. I love it because it gave me so much opportunity to do all these things.
Yeah.
So, when I started my job, it was all new and everything. So I got adjusted to it. And then when I got settled a little bit, like after a year, then I was thinking more about, I would love to like start my own business again because I have like started like little things before. Okay. And now I was like, okay, I think I really want this. I really had the craving for it. Yeah. And then, someone at my job had this side hustle that she did. And she told me like, because we always were talking about like side hustles and things like that. So then she said, you need to try that too. And that was actually an Etsy online store. So that's how it started actually.
Nice. That's super interesting. So talk us through that Etsy shop because that's something, it caught your attention. You're like, okay, let's do this. So you started an Etsy shop called Poster Boutique, right? Prior to your coaching business. And you were doing something, I wouldn't say totally different. I think it's aligned with one another. You were selling illustrations and the business was going well. Why did you decide to change your niche and focus on branding while, your business was going well, basically? I think it's for a lot of people, it's hard to start something that is going well. So why did you choose to change directions?
Yeah. I actually think also that when you're doing something and it goes well immediately, you also take it for granted a little bit because you're like, oh, I can just do that,
Yeah.
So I started Poster Boutique, and
Yeah.
it was amazing. I also created a brand around that. So it wasn't just creating illustrations, I also created a brand around that. And
Okay.
people were attracted to it, and it was awesome. And from that community that I built around my illustrations, people started requiring or asking questions about, hey, do you do branding? And I was like,
Mm.
yes, I would
Okay.
love to do your branding. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's also something that I was familiar with my actual corporate job. And so I was like, let's get it on, let's
Yeah.
do that. I never did it for myself, but let me help you out. And so while I started doing that, it was super interesting because I was like, oh, I love this. This is that direction I want to go into. And when I actually started doing that and officially promoted it on my illustration page, there was no demand.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So that
Yeah.
was insane. So that actually makes your question more interesting about why did I keep continuing the branding. I think it was just like a passion from inside
I
me. I
get
was
it.
like, I just want to do this like more than the illustrations, because I still love doing illustrations and I still do it as well. But the branding part just feels like
It
I can
fulfills you.
just I could just grow with it and like
Yeah.
go in all other places and create an agency eventually. But yeah.
Oh, wow. I love that idea. I get it. I think it's very interesting what you're sharing here, Sia Tania. Like, because I talk to a lot of female entrepreneurs, they start doing something and then they're very scared to tap into something else because sometimes they feel like, oh, maybe they failed or aren't they moving on too quickly? And I feel like it's okay to change your, how do you say it? Your first business idea can change over time, right?
Yeah.
I feel that it's not something that if you feel deep down in your heart, it's not something that you should hold on to. Maybe later you can combine it. But if you feel that it's something else, just go with the flow, I guess. And I think that's something that you did as well. Like you followed your passion, even though illustration is something that you love to do.
Yeah.
So what I'm curious about, because you have been sharing that even during your 9 to 5, you were always like very interested about like talking about side hustles. Like apparently you wanted to be an entrepreneur. Where do you think that comes from? Like, were there people around you when growing up or that you were inspired by, or someone else not in your family or in your circle that you were inspired by? Like, where does it come from?
Yeah, so I definitely saw an example of just people in my family and then my father, the closest to me, that always started businesses. So it was something that I saw from up close, that it is possible to create your own things and then start to make money with it. And like he always had a corporate job. So it was always like a side hustle, but he had like actual businesses, like a store and like a foundation or whatever. The possibility was open then to me to see that, it is something
It
that
is
you can
possible.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. That's good. That's very interesting to hear. And so you are focused on helping other women build, very unique, strong brands out there. That's clear. What I want to know and what I'm very curious about, like, how has that helped your business? Because I think there's always like an epiphany or an aha moment when you're an entrepreneur, right? When you do something, you're like, oh, but this was like the point where everything started to change for me. So take us with us, like, when did branding started to change your business in a very positive way?
So that is actually an interesting question, because for me, I already started it like with branding. So it was from the ground up. It was already like a brand that I created around it. I would say that the impact that it has on a business would be that people instantly recognize what it is that you do, what kind of vibe they have, and if the business has, and if it matches, with who you are and where you want to go.
Yeah.
So then this might be a weird twist, but where it actually changed for me is where I combined branding with marketing.
Okay.
So yeah, like I stated, when I actually fully went into branding in my community, everyone was of course interested in illustrations. But then when I started promoting branding, then it was crickets. So I was like, how is this possible? This is my community and it's always like lively. What is going on?
Yeah. What's happening?
So exactly. And it wasn't until I actually combined those core brand methods with the marketing
Okay.
methods that it like was like exploded.
Oh,
That
wow.
brand aspect exploded. So for me, the most significant part is just combining those two
Yeah.
together. That is the magic combination.
So I want to go deeper into that because we're hearing two things, right? We have
Yeah.
marketing, we have branding. And I can imagine that not every entrepreneur has experience in marketing or branding. Like people are good in what they do, but it doesn't
Mhm.
mean that they have, experience in sales, experience in marketing or branding. And I think there are a lot of misconceptions out there when it comes to the word brand or the verb branding. Even before
Mhm.
this episode, we were already talking about like brand, what is personal brand, what is brand. So explain to us like what is brand? What does it what are you creating? Because it's something intangible. What does it mean to
Yeah.
have or build a brand?
Okay, so there are like a lot of even different opinions around that with experts as well. Okay, so the best way to explain having a
Yeah.
brand would be the way that you position your business and the kind of people that you want to attract. So with the positioning of your business, it could be the type of a service or product you have, that it has
Yeah.
like this special twist around it.
Yeah.
And it's very focused on who you are targeting. So it's not so much just a broad, like, oh, everyone can just come here, you know? I just recently looked into Nike,
Yeah.
and they started as a brand for runners. So I don't
Uh-huh.
know, there's like a specific word for that too, but I
Yeah.
think runners is like explains it enough. So
Mhm.
it wasn't even for all athletes or whatever. It was when they started out, it was like for a specific group of people, and
Mhm.
they did this amazing thing and they made it specially geared to them.
Yeah.
So to me, when you create a brand, it is all about being super focused and having this special thing that makes it like extra valuable for for this group of people.
Yeah.
And because it is geared to a certain like person or group of people, you can make the whole identity of the brand fit to
Mhm.
them. So
Yeah.
that's where the colors come in. That's where the font come in. And like the things that you normally would say, okay, that is branding, is the colors and the logo and the
Yeah.
fonts, but it's actually the whole identity
Whole
of
thing.
what you're doing. Yeah.
Yeah. And would you say like your mission and your methodology and what you stand for also becomes a part of your brand as
Oh
well?
yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
especially. So obviously it depends on what kind of business you have. Like for example, for a coaching business, that is extremely important because that is the part that's going to differentiate you
Yeah.
from other coaches.
Yeah.
And then obviously when you have, I don't know, a clothing business or something, it can still be, something that is included, but it doesn't need to be because you have a product and it's not,
That's true.
nobody's necessarily looking at how are you
Yeah.
making your
Hmm.
clothes.
Yeah.
But it could be, for example, a vegan brand, a vegan clothing brand or whatever,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
yeah.
Interesting. So I'm hearing things, right? Like there are different ways to build a brand when you have a product based business and when you have like a service based business. Let's look into the service based businesses more.
Mm.
If you feel like if you are a beginner, whether you're a coach or an online service provider, do you feel like building a brand is one of the first things you need to think about? Do you feel like it should be high on your priority list?
Yeah. So with the building a brand, I am basically always talking about your foundation, which is important. The colors and the fonts, what people normally perceive as a brand, that is then secondary because it is based on the entirety. So when you start your business, it is key to actually know who you are like gearing your message to. What is your like? What are you saying? You know, you need to know specifically what am I saying, and you can only know that by actually deeply understanding who you're speaking to. So that is definitely part of the foundation of your brand and something you cannot skip. Otherwise, you're just saying some random things to some random people, and you're gonna get random results.
Yeah. I love that what you're saying, random results. Random things generates random results. I want to ask you because I talk to a lot of starting entrepreneurs a lot, and I feel like many female, I'm just talking about female entrepreneurs because those are the ones that I talk to.
Me too.
They don't really understand the idea of choosing who they're talking to. They want to talk to everybody.
Yeah.
Why do you think it is super important to make a choice in regards to who you're talking to? Why do you have to choose? Because everyone is like, why do I have to choose? I don't want to choose.
Yeah, I get that too. I feel like 80% of the people that I talk to have this conception like I want to help everyone, because if I am only limiting my focus on one specific group, then I'm limiting my my possibility to get more income or my income in general. Right?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to find this analogy. So what I use with my clients is like a dating analogy. So when you, for example, get into a room of people at a party, and you see a person that you're interested in, and you keep looking at them, and it's just like equivalent to, you know, you're scrolling online and then you see a post that you think, oh, that sparks my interest. Okay, you see a person that you're interested in, and then this person starts like speaking flirty comments to everyone.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right? Then you're like, I don't know if this is for me, because this is not really what I'm looking for, you know?
You're going to get turned off easily.
Yes. You're like, I'm actually looking for a relationship, for someone who's dedicated, for example, right? You're looking for a specific something. You're always looking for a specific something. And that's also actually, I think, a nice link to when you do random things, you're also going to attract people that do not have like a specific purpose, if that makes sense. Because if you don't really know where you're going, then, you know, you're going to end up somewhere with a coach that is the same. So it's very much attracting, you attract the same kind of energy that you put out. Anyway, I don't know if I explained that enough, but when you have someone in that room that is looking at you the same way that you're looking at them, and then you get in a conversation, and then you're like, oh, I'm looking actually for a dedicated relationship, and you're like, oh my god, I am looking for the same thing, and then you connect. That is like, oh my god, you are for me, right? I want to go on a date with you, like I want to step into business with you, whatever.
100%. And I agree with you also when it comes to, if you target everyone, you also you attract people that also don't really know where they are going. So everything becomes very mediocre. I totally understand. I love how you explain this, by the way, with a dating analogy. So then a quick question, because I can imagine that the listeners right now are like, okay, talk to me. How do I start a brand? Like, what would be like maybe 3 practical tips that you can share with all of us right now? If we've, never thought of it before, what can we do today to get started?
Okay, so it depends on, do they already have a passion for something? Do they already know, like have a vision for a business, or not yet?
Yeah. Let's say they already have a vision for their business. They've put things out there. They have their Instagram page, but they've never thought about like establishing a brand. Like, how do you get about it?
The first thing would definitely be brainstorming. So I think you should I'm really thinking now, what is the easiest step to get started when you already have everything set up?
You have never sold something. You've sort of
Okay.
created a product, but crickets. Nothing is happening.
Okay.
Okay.
Firstly, you need to let go of everything you did before. So release all the like emotional attachment to what you have done and what you did before, and start like with a complete blank slate to like really give yourself a chance to expand your brainstorm session to all the possibilities that are available to you. Because most likely the thing that is really going to accelerate your growth is something that you haven't thought of before. Because, when you want to do something you never done before, you need to, I don't know what it is anymore, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
So let's start there. So normally I'm always with my clients, so I have the brainstorm session with them, to ask the questions and make them think out of the box. So that would be the first thing, to like eliminate everything from your past and think, okay, let me start fresh and clean. So then you're gonna start a brainstorm session with yourself. You're gonna look at, okay, what is it that I'm actually doing? Because I noticed as well that when you're really passionate about something and really have something that you can talk about like forever and have knowledge about, that you wouldn't mind like spending hours and hours and hours on, that
guilty.
that you will be fine. Like, same for me. Like, I love talking about business. So I'm so happy with my clients, because then I can talk about business all day. If your business that you already had isn't centered around that, you need to skip that completely, because the passion, I think, is key. Like, some people say, oh, you can build $1 million business without passion. But I think, like, but what is the point then? Like,
what's the point?
I'm just doing them things every day that I don't really love to do. Like, why? Like, I don't know if I could make money with what I love. And you're going to look at like what you want to do. And I then think that you should focus on like the product again. So I'm now thinking about, okay, how can I give like a simple step? Because it's actually, it goes a lot deeper than a simple step. But I think you can break it down to looking at like a specific pain point of people that you want to help. So you're looking at what you love. Then you're looking at, when you think about that subject, what is like a pain point that people experience? And once you have that specific pain point, you're going to look at, okay, who do I want to help with that? Right. Yeah. And then you can sharpen those 3 things and see like where you're going with that. See if you can create a product around that. And I think you can do that in one day, like roughly. And once you did that, this is the like key point. You're gonna go out in the world. I can't speak. You're gonna go out in the world, and then you're gonna actually talk to people. Like, if you want to be a boss as CEO, you want to like leave all your fear behind and what people are going to think of you, and really get out there and talk to people about that idea that you just created in one day, and see what people think of it.
Okay. Like,
for
what
sure.
do people talking to people? Like being in their DMs or sending an email? Like,
let me specify that it needs to be the people that you actually want to attract, that you need to talk to. So if you don't have access to them personally, definitely reach out to them and like leverage. Like, don't be the type of person that just takes. Also be able to like give something back and say like, for example, if you're a copywriter and you want to help, so a previous client of mine, sorry, my dog is on my lap.
No, that's absolutely fine.
A previous client of mine, she is a copywriter, and she wanted to actually serve clients that were influencers in the travel and beauty industry. So what she was doing is she was actually reaching out to them to talk about what it is that they wanted, what it is that they needed, so she could like clarify her message and after that her marketing. And she did that by actually offering to write something for them for free, which is actually a cool thing to connect, but also and helps you out with your research. but also immediately talk to someone who is interested in what you're doing. Hopefully, like if you thought it out enough, because you're gonna like sharpen it so you can reach people without actually like talking to them directly, and then have a potential client out of it, you know?
I love that. I feel like a lot of people, especially when you're starting out, I was there too. Like I'm 100% guilty. The act of reaching out to potential clients, whether it's through market
Scary.
research or what you're saying right now, people find it so scary. And I was there too. To be honest with you, like before I rebranded my business, I was like, I'm not going to that. No way. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
And the moment you step out of that comfort zone, it becomes very easy. Like I do it almost on a daily.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter. And yeah, sometimes you will not get like maybe a respond or people will ghost you. It doesn't really matter. Like life goes
it really
on.
doesn't. Yeah.
Really, I think when you detach yourself, like what you're saying as the first step, like start fresh, new, a whiteboard, no emotion. I think when you do that also with that step, it really helps you a lot.
Yeah. I think, I love that, because I think also a big part of that, for sure, is building up your confidence to the level that you're like, yo, I'm really helping people. I need to like put my like message out there so people can actually get the help that I am offering, because this is gold. Like you need to be able to think about your business in that way. And like a quick tip for that as well that I give to my clients is write down a list of like 30 things, 30, that you love about your business and why people should pay for it. 30 things. And it will like, one of my clients, she was so nervous to reach out to people. And then I told her, okay, do this exercise before you do your sales call. Do this exercise. And she's like, oh my God, thank you so much. You helped. Yeah. So it really like boosts your confidence for sure.
Exactly. It's a confidence thing. And I think it comes with time as well. But I feel like sometimes you just need that push and then you just go, like, just do it, no emotion. And to be honest with you, if I have to share my experience, those are the most fun conversations. Like I have a lot of fun when I'm talking to people that fit into my ideal client persona. It's so fun to have these conversations. Like it's so natural, authentic. Like it's just having a conversation. Like right. So share with us. We are very curious to hear what's gonna happen next year for your business, Design Boutique. Like you already gave like a little hint when we were starting this conversation. I'm not sure if it's for next year, but take us through the plans that you have for your business.
Yes. So for sure, eventually I would love to have a design agency with other female designers working in the agency. And for next year, I would say I want to transition from a one-on-one clients to like a group. Also nice. To create more of a community. And I have this amazing software that I'm using now that has like almost like a Facebook type of feel to it for the community vibe, but I can like completely customize it to my own branding elements. Nice. And I'm really looking forward to using that and like just having everyone in there so they can network and like build relationships and we can grow together. And so that would be my goal for next year.
That's so nice. It's incredible. Like I'm already following you on Instagram. How can people find you? Like take us through. Like I can imagine that someone might be listening and be like, this is what I need right now. How can they work with you? Share that. And how can they find you on the World Wide Web?
Yes. So I am completely websiteless at the moment. I've been trying to build it for the last 2 years, but I'm working on it. Hopefully, like before the end of the year, it will be done. I am on Instagram, Design Boutique NL. And then how you can work with me is through one-on-one, in which I create your brand foundation. So we're going to go into the brand identity that we actually talked over today. So not just the colors and the fonts, but actually the base of your business and your messaging. And then I help my clients. This is what I like to do differently, is I help my clients get their first few clients and actually launch with a 4-figure launch. So that is what the one-on-one is about. And then I also have digital product in which you go through that same framework, but it is like a do-it-yourself version with a complete workbook and a video lessons that you can follow. And for the moment, I also have monthly coaching sessions with that. So maybe, I don't know how long I'm going to have the free coaching sessions with that, but for the time being, and maybe we can discuss maybe a coupon code or something that whenever people are watching this, that they can just keep having that.
That's a good one.
Those free sessions.
I will add that into the description notes of this podcast. I think this is a very good one that we can add. But thanks for sharing. It's good to know that there's a one-on-one service there, and there's also like a do-it-yourself version for whoever is like, one-on-one support. But one-on-one is included as well in the do-it-yourself as well, but maybe temporarily, right?
Yeah, but that's in a group session already.
Okay. Group session. So, yeah.
But you can ask. It's a live coaching session in which we're all present, and you can ask your questions. Yeah. So that in that sense, you are speaking to me. Yeah.
Sounds very good. Well, first off, I want to thank you so much for being a guest here on the Digital Dreamers Hub podcast. We've learned a lot about branding. It was very interesting to hear your journey, how you started in corporate, and now you're like traveling the world while helping other women building a very strong brand for themselves and attracting their dream clients. Very interesting. Thank you so much. It was super fun to have this conversation with you. And
I love that.
Thank you all for listening and tuning in, and I'll catch you guys in the next episode.